What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another view. This time we're taking a look at 300, directed by Zack Synder. 300 tells the story of King Leonidas, who leads 300 Spartans to fend off the Persians, who are trying to invade Greece, particularly that of Sparta. That is the basic premise of this movie. This movie is not about plot. This movie is about action and about being a spectacle. And 300 does that in visual spades. I love this movie. I loved it when it first came out, and I love it now. I think 300 is fucking awesome. I think Zack Synder with this movie creates just this epic comic book like movie with outstanding cinematography. The cinematography in this movie is awesome. Snyder makes this movie look like a comic book come to life, like I said, and his visualness and his visual storytelling is very underrated. I don't think Zack Synder gets a lot of credit for being a good visual storyteller because when he's doing his action scenes, oh, he savors every single minute of doing those action scenes. I think when it comes to action scenes, Zack Synder is one of the best directors out there. He doesn't use no he does not use shaky cam or any of that nonsense itself. You see the action sequences that Zack Synder does, and he takes glee in just highlighting the intenseness, the rawness, the spectacleness, the over-the-topness of his action sequences. And 300 really was the first showing of what Zack Synder can do as an action director. And like I said, he does it in grand spectacle. This movie is just phenomenal from a production standpoint, from a visual standpoint as well. From a casting standpoint, the movie's also really strong. Gerard Butler as King Leonidas fits the role like a glove. I love Gerard Butler in this movie. He is intense. He's intense when he needs to be. He can be calm when he needs to be, and he can be downright badass when he has to be. And Gerard Butler does that awesome. The actor who played Xerxes, the villain, I like the sexual seductiveness that he brings the character, trying to pretty much making Xerxes as this seducer in a way. And I think the actor who did it did a phenomenal job at just creating this godlike, larger than life type of presence, while giving it a slight little question mark as to what he really is. And I think I get good performance. You also have solid performances from Michael Fassbender and David Wenham, Dominic West and Laura Headley. They all play their roles fantastically. One of my favorite underrated characters in this movie is actually the captain of Leonidas' army, played by Vincent Regan. I think this character is really, really cool. He has probably one of my best scenes in this movie where he sees his son die by Persians, and then he goes into this blood-drunk rage and he starts slaughtering everybody. And the performance that Vincent Regan gives is quite good. Like, you feel his anger, you feel his hatred and his heartache of what he's just seen. And when he goes on his blood rage, you just think to yourself, this guy can take on an entire army. He's blinded with rage. And I think Vincent Regan captures that fairly well. Now, this movie is not written to be a masterpiece. It's not written to be an Oscar-winning movie. Far from it. This movie is meant to be an action spectacle, and like I said, it does not disappoint. You watch 300 and you know what you're going to get. You're going to get blood, you're going to get violence, you're going to get sex. And this movie has everything that you need in a good action movie. You have Zack Synder, who is a competent, I think competent is really giving him a disservice. Now, I have my criticisms of Zack Synder, but that doesn't mean I hate Zack Synder. I actually am a fan of Zack Snyder's work, and I feel that Zack Synder, when given proper guidance, can make excellent movies. 300 is one of those movies. He's not held back by anything. He shows you what he wants to show you, and he takes great pride in knowing that he's the best at his game. And this, like I said, 300 is a perfect example of just how good Zack Synder can be when he's on his A game. Great cast, great production value. The sets in this movie all look fantastic. It's a great utilization of green screens, which actually give it that comic book feel, which green screens to some people can be a little below, but in a movie like 300, that's kind of the idea. And what in the aesthetic he's going for, Zack Synder was going for this comic book accurate feel for this movie, and to do that he did a utilization of green screens, which actually worked for me. It works for the context of this movie. The costume designs are very, very accurate. They're very period. The whole aesthetic of this movie just looks, to me, it looks accurate. I don't care about the historical inaccuracies this movie has, or if it demonizes. I don't care about any of that stuff. I'm looking for an entertaining movie, and I get an entertaining movie with entertaining fight scenes, excellent battles, good acting, and a solid story to hold it all together. And it also actually does a very solid job at paralleling the politics of war along with the actual war itself, and that we see that the politics are much more dangerous than the actual war, especially when it's your own people turning against you because of their own selfishness and greed, which is what the Dominic West character Theron is, pretty much a two-faced son of a bitch who gets his in the end in glory by the queen. So yeah, this is a very satisfying movie. It's a perfect 10. For what it is, it's a perfect 10. For its genre, it's a perfect 10. No complaints about 300 whatsoever. It's a very excellent movie. Whatever you need in an action bloodbath, 300 will give it to you, and it will not disappoint. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment sections down below. Like the video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.